Now 250,000. Now, but to get 275. High, but to get 275. 3. Now 300,000. Now 3 1/4, 325. High, but to get 3 1/4, but to get 325. Now half. Now, but to get 300. And hello, and welcome to the Mike McGavel Jones Show. I'm Mike Jones, and I'm going to be your host for the next 45 minutes or so as we discuss the latest topics on what's going on in the world. A little bit of the weekend, last week, what was going on last week, this week, and then also going to talk about some property that we have for sale that we're up going to be taking up for auction. And then talk about the economy in general. So there's just a lot of stuff that we can talk about. And this is our weekly installment here in Dallas at the intersection of 635, the LBJ Freeway, and the Dallas North Tollway. And we are in Lincoln Center. And we have Zach as our producer. Good morning, Zach.
Hello, Mike. How's it going?
It is good. Life is good.
You've been busy. I mean, you're always busy, but I'm curious. I've been trying to keep up with you on Facebook, and trying is the operative word because you're all over the place. Mm-hmm. You've been in... Where have you been lately? What have you been up to?
Well, let's see. Last week, I guess it would be Monday, we were at Scottish Rite Children's Hospital here in Dallas, just down the tollway at the exit at Oak Lawn. And we have an annual event with the Texas Auctioneers Association where we have our new champion auctioneer basically conduct an auction with the kids. Mm-hmm. And then they have a board meeting, and they do that at Scottish Rite. And we've been doing this now. I just found this out. I'd forgotten. This is how long I've been involved with it, but we've been doing this for about 18 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so the auction school over the last few years has raised funds through our school auctions at America's Auction Academy, formerly Texas. And our cumulative raise has been, we're getting close to $300,000, and probably we'll hit that in the next two classes for sure. But we did a check presentation for a little over $270,000, maybe $278,000, somewhere around there.
That's tremendous.
Yeah, and that was, that was a great opportunity to show what our students have done and our instructors have done, and then also the guests that we have that come to these auctions because they're all in-house.
Yes.
And then we also had a separate check presentation for this calendar year specific, which was around $17,000, I believe. I think that's right. However, that it was a rush deal. The neat thing about that event, it's always the first Monday of December, and it coincides with the visit from the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
And so we have the Cowboys bus out front, and all the players come, and I'm sure there's some exceptions to the rule of who is and who isn't, but we had some of the key players. And it's always cool because when you come in and you've got your Texas auctioneers and we're all walking through, and then you get to look over the balcony there and you see all the players lined up signing autographs for the kids at the hospital and their families. So it's a very positive, upbeat day all the way around.
Not to just straight up plug your page, but that's one of the cool things about following you on Facebook. I saw a post on the front page of Reddit, somebody whose son, I think, was at Scottish Rite, and they had a picture of a couple of Dallas Cowboys. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, well, shoot, I had seen that. I had seen them all out there signing autographs and stuff earlier because I follow you and keep up with that. So I guess what I'm saying to people is go ahead and follow the Mike McGavel Jones Show on Facebook to keep up with this stuff.
Well, and I appreciate that. We enjoy doing the show. It's a way for us to inform people of what we're up to and get involved with the community, and also the general population of realtors and auctioneers. So, the show has been fun. I don't know how many we've done now, like 14 or so, but
this is episode 16.
16, actually. Okay, yeah. Well, and we'll have another show next week, and we have a special guest for next week, and that'll be Brenda Cole from over in Grapevine, South Lake, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Not
to bury the lead here, but speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, that's some big news, right? Yeah.
Well, there is that. That big star in the room. The Cowboys did quite well yesterday. They had some faux pas, obviously, and Dak had some issues. But then if you look at the day overall, to win against Philadelphia 2 times in a year, and of course they're this past year the Super Bowl champions.
Yes.
They're not the team they were, obviously. And but neither are the Cowboys. So 5 wins in a row. We're 2 out ahead of Washington and Philadelphia. So who knows what's going to happen? But we can win out or we can lose out. We're up against some pretty good teams, but the good teams that we're talking about have been losing. So we've got a chance.
I saw the Packers just changed coaches. Apparently, after a couple of years of Super Bowl fame, things aren't going so hot for them. I wonder how long you can ride that. You know, how long can you ride on? Hey, we just won the Super Bowl before. Okay, it's time to get back on the horse and start winning games again. Philadelphia seems to be struggling.
Well, evidently, you can do quite well and not win a Super Bowl. You know, after Game 3 this year, everybody wanted to hang Garrett and get him out and, you know, get rid of that guy. And you know, our good friend Jerry Reynolds, who has his own radio show here in Dallas, you know, he's a big car guy.
Oh, sure.
And Jerry's posting on Facebook yesterday. You know, I'm watching the game. He's posting stuff, and he's like, you know, fire the kicker now. You know, and then the guy kicks the record-breaking field goal for any kicker in Dallas history, like a 64-yard field goal. So that was hilarious. And then Jerry goes, and then he was all over Dak, and the next thing he goes, you know, then he's saying that Dak can't throw over 20 yards. Everything he said was wrong. So and I've invited Jerry to come on the show. I'll let him get this right.
Yeah.
You know, but we're going to have some cool people on the show. You know, I've been sending out some invites to the show, and people that are big-time Texans, and then also people that are not, that are just, you know, in certain business niches. We are going to have, in fact, I got a confirmation last week. I don't have the date set yet, but we're going to have our Texas agriculture commissioner is going to be on. So Sid Miller, who I've known for a long time, back when he was, you know, basically a lobbyist. He was actually the lobbyist for the Texas Auctioneers Association. So I've written the ag commissioner checks before, and so we got to know each other that way. And then, but he's very gracious and very willing to come on, and whether he's back home in Stephenville or down in Austin, you know, when he comes up this way, I just said, look, when you're coming into Dallas, let's set it up and you can do the show. And he was like, you know, 2 seconds later, sending me a messenger saying, "Yep, I'm all in. Just get with my scheduler." So that's cool, and we appreciate that a lot.
There's one other thing I wanted to ask you about. I know we have a whole show to get to, but before we get to that, you spent the weekend somewhere particularly interesting.
Well, you know, I literally ran out of Scottish Rite. I didn't even get to stay. I stayed for the auction, but I didn't stay for the luncheon, which I normally do, because when we go to Scottish Rite, we usually have about 30-minute presentation from the doctors at Scottish Rite to kind of give us an update on what's going on and what they're doing for the kids and kind of the state of the hospital. And this is one of those years I just couldn't do it, and because I had a flight, and we had some classes out in Las Vegas with the National Auctioneers Association, and those classes were directly related to real estate, marketing, and real estate auctions. And so on my way, my layover was in Salt Lake.
Oh, wow. And
I relayed this story yesterday on my Facebook page, but I'm just because we have a few minutes to tell the story.
Yeah.
So I go into the Delta Club, and, you know, when you fly as much as I do, that's my normal stop.
Right.
And so I go in there, and I usually grab a bite and have a glass of wine or something. So I go into the Delta Club, and this young man from Africa comes up, and his name is Gene. And you'll see this story on my Facebook page. If you want to spend the time to read it, you can, but this is the short version. Gene is this great guy. He's probably 5'5", maybe 5'6". He's not exactly the tallest guy in the world, but he just has a smile. Gene has a smile. You know, he speaks English, but it's you know, it's kind of broken English based on Africa. He gets here. He's got his Delta pin on. He's got a U.S. flag on, which I always appreciate that. And so he stops off, just wants to know how things are going. I go, well, everything's great. And he said, what do you do? And I told him I was a real estate and general auctioneer, depending on, you know, what's happening this week, and a real estate broker here in the state of Texas, and nationally and internationally. We do events, and there you go.
Yeah, I was going to say, I want to make sure I get this pulled up here.
Well, there he is. Well, there's young Gene. And so, well, that's about right. He's probably about 5'5", 5'6".
Anyway, sorry, not to interrupt.
And with the hat, maybe, I don't know, 10 foot tall. But anyway, nice kid. Gene visited with me for a good 20 minutes, and then I took off for my flight. And I get down to the flight. I go on the plane. I sit down and realize I don't have my phone. Which let me tell you something. When I lose my phone, it's a big deal.
Oh, sure.
Because now I'm hyperventilating, and now I realize I have to go back to the Sky Club I ran. Well, first off, I asked the flight attendant, I said, how much time do I have before we depart? She says, you have 20 minutes. I walked up the jetway, and just as a double check, I wanted to ask the gate guy. So I asked the gate person, I said, so how much time do I have? And he says, 10 minutes. So I lost 10 minutes walking from the plane door to the door of the terminal. I don't know. Time flies. And so then I ran like a track star.
Like actually running in the airport?
Oh, I ran.
Okay.
Yeah, in my boots and
not above a jog in the airport. Good for you.
I am not at all. And so I get back to the Delta Club and I run to the front desk and the girl says, "No, we don't have a phone." And I see Gene on the other side of the room. Now, and I'm really perplexed because I'm just going, look, if it's not here, I don't know where it is. And I said, "Gene," and then I realized I had spent enough time with him that we had done a selfie,
Sure.
which he wanted. And then I let him try on my cowboy hat, which he liked. That was a big deal to him. And here's a guy from, here's a kid, literally a young man, who'd never had a Western hat on. So it was like a big deal to him.
Yeah.
And then I had also put his phone number in my phone. Now, I don't know why I did that, because I do that. That's something I would do.
Sure.
I said, and it hit me. He's in my phone. I said, "Gene, call my phone." And so he calls my phone, and sure enough, a woman answers.
Oh.
And I go, "Where are you?" She says, "I'm on the plane." I said, "Who is this?" She goes, "It's the flight attendant." I said, "Where's my phone?" She says, "In the galley." So evidently when I was getting on the plane, taking off my sport coat, I set down my luggage and my phone in the galley. Oh. And then, because I was handing them my coat to hang up and all this stuff.
Right.
Bottom line is, it was just weird and wacky. And then I lost my phone again in Las Vegas about the third or fourth day there. And that was harder because it was like 24 hours before I was able to reclaim it.
Oh, gosh.
But I had that Find a Phone feature, and I highly, highly recommend Find a Phone. But the weird thing was where I was staying, which was Caesars, and I've been staying there for 40 years.
It's a palace.
It's Caesar's Palace.
Sure.
So I know where everything is, and it's just easy for me to get around. And it wasn't even where the events were that we were going to. But anyway, so I'm watching this phone move. On the tracker.
It's a good place to be in.
Well,
yeah,
I'm watching it.
I'm
watching it. It's now at Caesar's Palace, and now it's over at what's the one next door?
Bellagio.
Bellagio.
Yeah.
Now it's at the Bellagio. I'm going, well, my phone's moving around. Of course, they can't answer it, because they don't have the password or anything.
Sure.
Anyway, they brought it back, and so they turned it into security. And
just some person.
Just some person. We don't know who it was.
Some good Samaritan.
But the funny thing is, when I lost my phone, I went down to look for it and didn't find my phone, but I found somebody else's phone.
Oh, okay.
And turned it in. So I figured it was a trade out.
There you go.
Good deed for good deed.
Sure.
So anyway, then when I was flying back, of course, Vegas was pretty fun. They're pretty nice to you when you've been going there that long.
Did you do pretty well out there?
I don't want to talk about that part.
Okay. All right. Well, I assume you did great then. Yeah.
But I tell you what was great.
Yeah.
Went to the Blue Man Group.
Yes.
That was great.
Yeah.
And that was we had good seats for that, and then also went and saw Brooks and Dunn.
Love that.
And Reba.
Yeah.
And that was fantastic.
Yeah.
And they were really, really good and had pretty good seats for that. And then it was really weird because you're doing a lot of pictures and stuff, and then you look up on the television the next morning and there's Reba singing the Lord's Prayer at the Bush funeral. So I'm thinking, well, Reba obviously went straight to the airport, got on a private jet, flew to Houston, and did the funeral for George H.W. Bush. So
yes.
That was pretty phenomenal. And then the Oak Ridge Boys were doing their thing. So, I was a big fan of that White House and what that man represented was really phenomenal. And I think, and obviously, the greatest generation, just a passing that we will not see again in our lifetime. And so, we can say, well, we hope we do, but you won't, because the wars that they went through, the things that people went through to save this country that none of the kids today understand and the millennials will not understand. And not to get onto a political rant, but however, I find it quite amazing that they took a poll. Somebody told me this out the other day, and they were saying, and actually this was with somebody very well respected in the industry, and he goes, you realize they just did a poll, and the current population of the United States almost prefers socialism over the democratic way of doing things. And so the democracy is on the verge, and so something's going to have to happen. So leadership is going to have to come back in and balance things out, but it's a crazy time, Zach.
HW was a good guy, yeah. And I was talking about this on another show we do. I'm a little too young to be real familiar with his administration, but I am familiar with divisive politics, and it's always so stunning to me when a political figure, I think of course, like John McCain, but passes away, and you don't hear people start arguing and rattling pitchforks, and he was a bad guy all along. I haven't heard much of that at all. For the most part, it's been, he was a good dude, and it's a bummer he's gone. So yeah.
Well, it is interesting because he didn't have a lot of controversy. His biggest mistake was saying no new taxes. Read my lips. No new tax. I tell you what, if that's the biggest thing that's going to get you not reelected in the United States today, that's an amazing thing.
It's true.
He did what he had to do. And the thing about it is, from an accomplishment standpoint, he was probably the most accomplished individual before he became president. When you look at his resume, the CIA director. Yeah. He'd been ambassador. He'd been vice president in 2 terms. I mean, he had the resume to be president, and he had all the intelligence understandings in international affairs. So yeah, HW had the deal going on, and then you look at the last 2 or 3, and you go, well, okay.
Yeah. Nowadays we're not so big on having experience before you get into the office, but HW believed in it, so good for him.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to move on.
Yes.
Didn't win any money there, and went back through Salt Lake, saw Gene again, did another photo shoot with Gene. All right. And got back in and then watched the Cowboys win. So overall, it was a great week, I think.
Now, you may not have walked away with much money, but you're rich in character, Mike. And that's
Is that
important.
the deal?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Well, I feel like a very rich man. It's a beautiful day in Dallas today.
It is.
We've had so much tough weather everywhere, even where I've been. Yeah. Between snow and just overcast and cold and this whole blizzard thing's going through the Carolinas right now. You've got, it's really a bad deal for our friends in the Carolinas and up through Raleigh and Asheville and that area. I've got lots and lots of friends, and we have offices there as well. We probably got 30, 40 offices in those 2 states.
Oh, wow.
And so, we send out our thoughts and prayers for them. Also, my stepmother's mother passed over the weekend.
Oh, gosh.
Or at the end of last week. And
Sorry to hear that.
They're actually doing that service. They did that service this morning, and because of obligations, I couldn't get there. So I do want to do just a condolence and a prayer out to the family down in College Station. It seems like a lot of stuff going on in College Station right now. But so my thoughts and prayers are with Carol and the rest of the family down there today. So
very sweet.
Yeah. Well, we've got an auction going on. It's an online auction. I want to talk about that. We also have some other properties that are in the middle of auction processes. So the one I want to talk about this morning is Autumn Antlers Trophy Whitetail Lodge. Yes. This is a high fence ranch located within an hour of Brainerd, Minnesota, and also within an hour of St. Cloud. St. Cloud is a pretty good-sized city. When I was in D.C. with Senator Cornyn, I was also with the representative out of St. Cloud. And so this is it's a beautiful area. Of course, right now it is cold. It's probably got snow all over it. But it's a great place to go. And, whether you're a purist, a hunter that goes out and, wants to fight the elements and go all over the mountains and go into Colorado and Wyoming and all these places, you can do that. But you can also go to a place like Autumn Antlers, which is a trophy whitetail lodge location. It's got the difference that I would say, besides just the difference in the hunting style, is it's a world-class location. So if you are limited on time, if you want a first-class accommodation, on the property that you're going to. That's what this represents. And so it has a 5-star lodge on it. It's over 10,000 square feet. I've spent a couple of days up there, and I mean, when I say 5-star, I am not kidding.
It's stunning. It really is.
It is a stunning property, and I would highly recommend people check it out. This is an opportunity. You know, everything we do typically is an opportunity because it's we qualify our projects. We don't take on every project. We probably only take on 1 out of 10 or 1 of 15. It used to be 1 out of 10. Now it's 1 out of 15 because we get a lot of opportunities to do things and sell things and go all over the United States and work with our United Country and our United Real Estate offices.
Yes.
Agents and brokers, which we have about 7,000 now. And but this is a phenomenal property. When you go to a hunting lodge, you don't typically have the best roads. You may have a paved road, but normally you don't. Now, if it's exclusive, you do. This one has paved road, paved parking. It has lights around the parking area as you come up to the lodge. First, it's just I don't know exactly what the bottom dollar number was that they spent on this lodge. Probably, if I was a guessing man, I would say somewhere in the $4 to $5 million range just for the lodge and that improvement. They have a meat processing center there, so if you go there and you hunt, you can also have whatever you hunt, the meat that it comes from that animal. You process it, and they'll prepare it, package it, just like a regular meat processing plant.
Sure.
It's a state approved plant, so it's not like you're going out to somebody's camp. You literally have the facilities to have it done correctly, and they have all the equipment that you can ever imagine to prepare things. The tour of the property is phenomenal. This thing is wrapping up on December the 13th.
Very soon.
Very soon, so just got a few days left on the online auction. And if you're interested in this property, you need to check out www.trophywhitetaillodge.com.
We've got that linked in the Facebook description as well, so if
Zach,
anybody needs it,
Zach, why don't you do this? I know that we have a video of this property.
Yes.
And this would probably be a great time. My screen is dark at this time, but I'm going to have you go
ahead. You'll see it on there. I got you.
And I know it's queued up. So why don't you hit that, and we'll let folks see what it looks like from the ground and above.
Here it is.
Okay.
We're here with Doug at Autumn Antlers. We want to talk a little bit about this amazing ranch that's coming on the market very soon. Doug, tell us a little bit about the animals you have here on your preserve.
Well, my partner Denny and I, Denny's been raising deer for over 20 years. We've got just over 700 whitetails, some of the best genetics in the country. We breed 250 to 260 does currently in our breeding operation here with some of the most fantastic whitetails you could ever imagine.
These hills and draws they got through here, full of aspens, all the hardwoods, a lot of beautiful bucks, tons of wildlife in here. It's an amazing spot today.
Well, I tell you, I'm in the ranch brokerage business and I've been in there for a long time. I've seen a lot of great lodges, but I've never seen a lodge any more beautiful than Autumn Antlers. It is amazing the woodwork that's in there, the hedge y'all got, the kitchen is second to none. I mean, it's a commercial restaurant kitchen.
It's one of the things, Trey. A lot of our clientele hunts the entire world. I mean, they've got the ability to go anywhere they want, and one of the biggest things that I take pride in with all of our people is when they come back, when they refer a friend, when they bring a husband or a wife back to hunt here, when they bring their children back to hunt here, that to me is what speaks when you're on the right track.
Mm-hmm. It's an amazing processing plant in here. We got a rail system. There's a cooler here. Let's take a quick look at this. Get her all cleaned up again.
Trey, we let them age in there for anywhere from 5 to 7 days, and we're a state inspected meat facility, so it comes in. We've got a butcher that comes in and he processes them, grinds them.
Beautiful facility. The meat processing plant sits about 200 yards from the main lodge, so it's not too far, not too close. It's just right. I'd like to thank Autumn Antlers. Man, this is an amazing ranch, amazing lodge. Remember, we got the beautiful lodge, we got the meat processor, we got the hunting, we got breeder pens, whitetail deer, red stag, elk, we got mouflon sheep, we've got a little bit of everything. Amazing ranch. Come on out. It's a beautiful new place. It's on the market now.
Thank you, Trey.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Doug.
Well, that is something.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a hunting man.
Yeah.
Not because I don't want to be. It's just I don't happen to live near any of my family in Michigan that I'll do it. But man, if I was gonna take a shot at it, I'd like to do it out there.
Well,
shoot.
You know, I've been all over it, and you know, from the lodge itself, and then when you go on to the way I tell you what, it's funny. It's not so big you can't handle it. You know what I mean?
No.
Because when you're in this type of business, and it is a business. This is not just a recreational thing. You can make it a recreational thing. For someone to be real direct about it, you could have it as this hunting facility as it's set up now.
Right.
2 weekends ago, they had folks in there, and they spent $100,000.
It's pretty.
They spent $100,000.
I believe it too. Look at this place.
It's not uncommon, and our guys will be Autumn Antlers. You know, in January they'll be at the Safari Club International show, both shows, the international show, and then the one that's going to be here in Dallas. And you know, that's where they typically book the hunts for the next 6 months to a year, and there's a huge amount of cash flow that comes from this type of business because of the clientele.
Yeah.
Writing the check or whatever, or spending the cash is not the issue. I know who some of the clients are. I'm not going to be specific, but I can tell you that without being exact with the number, but probably the percentage of people that come to Autumn Antlers, probably 30-40% of them come from Texas.
Yeah.
Because we're a hunting state. People love to hunt all over, different types of animals and deer. But in this particular case, it's a different experience. You know, like we don't get a lot of snow down here. Well, they were hunting over the weekend, and like the snow started probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So you get out in that snow, and you just have a great time, and you go back to the lodge. Well, going to that lodge is like going to a lodge in Reno, you know, a ski lodge. I would compare it to a ski lodge because you can do pretty much anything you want to. But I mean, it's a phenomenal place, and they have stands, and a lot of the equipment was actually built here in Texas. Yeah. So there's a lot of Texas influence on Autumn Antlers property. And then when you look at the four-wheelers, and let me tell you, the equipment that they have, it's I'm not going to say it's new, but they keep it like new. So you've got, if you saw in the photographs of the four-wheelers, and then you have the trailers, the aluminum trailer.
Yeah.
That one aluminum trailer probably cost over $75,000. And then you've got the breeding facility. Right now, you've probably got over 500, 600 animals on the property right now. Just in improvements alone, I'd say between the lodge and the meat processing facility, and then the breeding facility, and then the storage areas, you're looking at way over close to $10 million in improvements. People have said, and I read a lot of comments on Facebook, and people will comment, and they don't know anything about what they're talking about. They just make comments because it makes them feel good, and it's usually people that don't have any money. I'll be honest. I mean, that's typically it. It's like people that talk about politics, or they hate this politician or hate that politician, but they've probably never read anything about their voting record or the op-eds in the newspaper. They just have a comment.
Mike, you're going to get us thrown off Facebook here. Watch out.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It is what it is. And so anyway, in regard to this property, you just have to look at all the assets and say, okay, what do I want to do with it? Do I want to make it a corporate retreat? Do I want to keep it as a hunting facility? Do I want to make it a Christian camp? There's so many things you can do with this property that will lend to different people and different groups of people, different corporations. So I saw a note on Facebook, and they were saying something like, well, they probably aren't making any money, or, hey, hang around, it'll be in bankruptcy. Well, I got news for the world. It's not going to be in bankruptcy. You've got two multimillionaires that own the property. They simply have a lot of irons in the fire. One of them has interest in 15 to 20 different businesses. The other one has a major company in the state of Minnesota, and then a secondary business that he's ramping up on. And they simply don't have enough time in the world to run this operation. So they want to sell it and move on to their next project and do something else. They are hunters. They like to hunt. One of them especially likes to hunt, and he enjoys the hunting experience. But it's like he said, Mike, we've owned this thing now. It's roughly, they've got 10 years in it, and he said it's time for me to go do something else. And then the other gentleman wants to retire from it. He's looking at his retirement age is coming up close, and he has plenty of money. They both have plenty of money, so it's not a forced sale. They don't have to sell. They simply would like to move it, and they wanted to move it through us. So between United Strategic Client Services and our broker, and we have this is a joint venture in conjunction with Sunbelt Business Advisors out of Minnesota. They're good friends of mine. And so Brent Engelbrecht is the broker of record, and Brent and his team have been all over the property and taking a look at it. And so the guys there, Brent and Dan and Randy, have been great at working together on this project. So we just want to invite the people out. With the brochures online, you can look at that. You can look at the video again. It is a business opportunity. It has brought in over $1 million in 1 year, and so. Quite frankly, it needs probably new ownership that's excited about it, that wants to spend the time and invest in building the business. And right now, they just haven't got the time. Now, since we started talking about selling it and putting it on the market, now all of a sudden they're booking like crazy.
Oh yeah.
Naturally. Now everybody wants to book. So, yeah.
Well, hey, it's good. It's good press.
But their clientele too this is important to remember. We live in a state with a lot of millionaires and billionaires.
Sure.
And and all I'm going to say is there's millionaires and billionaires in Arkansas. Okay? And so that's the type of clientele that comes there. They get millionaires and billionaires that come in from Texas and Arkansas and Missouri, and then they come in from all across the United States. So this is a great opportunity. If you've got family members that want to be involved in a hunting operation, they can be a profitable company. And I had someone call from California last week that said, I live in Silicon Valley, but my entire family lives in Minnesota, and we're looking at it as a possible business that we can all work together and all own together. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the key to this, is it's going to have to be somebody that if they want to keep it a ranch, they can. If they want to make it a corporate retreat, they can. If they want to make it a family retreat, maybe you're into hunting and you want this to be the family Kennebunkport. That's kind of different, isn't it?
Oh, sure. Why not?
Well, you got the lakes up there, so if you got a boat, you can go up there and do the lake thing too.
Yeah.
But they do have flights into Brainerd. Delta flies in there, and then they also have a lot of flights into St. Cloud. So it's easy to get to.
Yeah, and like you said, paved roads, so you can drive up any time of year.
Well, and there's a state highway that leads right up to the front of it. So it's not like you're having to drive through the woods to find the place. So it's very cool. And so I would just recommend that if you're interested in autumn antlers, the online auction is set to close the 13th, which is just in a few days from now, and it closes, I believe, at 2 p.m. And you can go to TrophyWhitetailLodge.com. That's TrophyWhitetailLodge.com, or you can call 800-485-8214, 800-485-8214, or you can call me directly at 214-906-5265, 214-906-5265. And we'll be happy to connect you with the right people and get you registered for this online auction, because it's an incredible opportunity, and our sellers are geared to sell. That's the main thing. It's not like they're sitting here going, hey, I got to have $10 million for this property, because they're not. They're very realistic. They understand what it's a business, and they also understand what asset value is, and they've spent a lot of time working on making it presentable to the public, and it's actively open, making money right now. So I think that's the key. So, Zach, it's been real, man.
It's been real, and it's been fun, yes.
So our next episode, we're going to have Brenda Cole, who has been a friend of mine since 1979, 1978, 79. So we've been friends for 40 years, and went to college together at North Texas. And she was my very first clerk when I got in the auction business. So that's how long I've known her. She was back when the family was working with me. We didn't call them employees because they were family. So probably Brenda was the only actual person who was like, now she swears to God that I never paid her, but I don't know. We're gonna debate that on the next show. We're gonna have to talk about that. But we were reacquainted when she was with another real estate franchise company. And they were needing to have an auction, and so she recommended me, and I went in, and we had not seen each other in probably 20 years, and so now she is the broker of record and the managing broker for United Real Estate DFW, and that is located on Main Street in downtown Grapevine, right across from the Chili Parlor. And we've got a great office there, and then it also covers South Lake. So she's involved with the Fort Worth office for United Country, and then also the United Real Estate offices. So she's very active, and we're going to talk to her next Monday and hear all about what she's doing and her involvement with Metrotex and also the National Association of Realtors, because she is a great realtor and very well educated in the laws, rules, and regs, and just a super person. So we will talk to her next week. And in the meantime, we're going to say, we're going to bid everybody adieu, Zach. And we thank y'all for joining the Mike McGavel Jones Show again this week. And we'll be back next week and hopefully many weeks to come. Go Cowboys. See ya.